So how many of you have been to this conference before? Show of hands. Yeah. So have you been a few times? Anyone been here more than five? More than 5 times? So I want to invite those long-time attendees to really think of yourself as a host and think about the ways you could be welcoming the first-time attendees into this really vibrant, fun culture that you've created. Now, first-time attendees, you're probably feeling a little overwhelmed. Is that the word that comes to mind? This is a really big event. There's a lot going on. In fact, just trying to figure out how to navigate the chaos of the hallway might be difficult. And your first instinct might be to just come to the edge of the room, right, and just stand and watch. We've all been there, right? What's dangerous about this is that someone might join you who also doesn't know anybody in the room. And that's going to be the most awkward ending to a conversation, because neither one of you can make an introduction. So I want to encourage you to move into the room so you can meet people. In fact, remember that one of the main reasons you're here is to meet people. You could stay home and learn lots of things online, but you came here because of the promise of in-person connection with like-minded colleagues that you can't get if you just stay home. Now, this does mean you're going to have to figure out how to break into those kind of awkward, tight networking circles. You know what I mean? Imagine the hallway and people are sort of clustered together, or at the reception tonight, people are going to be sort of mingling, but in little tight circles. So I want to share some strategies that will help not just first-timers, but all of you really more easily engage and connect with each other. To do that, I'm going to need 5 volunteers to join me up on stage. All I'm asking you to do is come, form a circle, and talk about bagels. Because that's what I imagine these circles kind of are. They're really hard to break into, and they're little bagels. So I wonder, are there any outgoing people? Oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Would you just join me up on stage? And as you come up, just stand off to the side for a moment. And as they're doing that, I want to get a sense of who else is here in the room. How many people here are social butterflies and you can talk to just about anyone? Just hang off to the side for just 1 second. And how many of you are social butterflies? Yeah. And how many of you, the idea of talking to strangers makes you just a little bit queasy? Well, here's the thing. Extroversion and introversion are about where we get our energy. And sometimes that's about being around a lot of people. How many people here love being around people? It really gets you. This is a big event. You're feeling really, really energized. And how many of you, well, it seems like it would be so great to be home alone right now with a good book and a nice cup of tea. Yeah? Excellent. I'm sorry. This is probably an exhausting, draining experience to be at an event like this. Now, I am definitely on the outgoing scale, and I'm definitely a huge extrovert, but there are also some people who are outgoing introverts. Is anyone here an outgoing introvert? Somebody who's really social when you're out, but socializing makes you really drained, but no one believes that you're an introvert. They're like absolutely sure that you're an extrovert. And maybe there's a few of you that are actually shy extroverts. Anyone a shy extrovert? You love going around and seeing people, but it's most likely that people don't even know you were there because you're so quiet in large groups. This is what brings me back to my other point. No matter whether it's what scale you're on, whether you're really outgoing or really shy or really extroverted or really introverted, I want you to be more comfortable engaging and connecting with the other people in the room, which is why, thanks to our volunteers, we're going to talk about the strategies of those networking circles. So come on out, volunteers. Stand right around here in the light, yep, and without me, form a circle. Excellent. A little tighter, and talk about bagels.
Bagels are amazing.
This is what it's like. You're trying to find your way in. There's no one making any eye contact. There's no natural opening. You're looking for it. People tend to be a lot taller than me. I don't know what that's about. I'm so curious about what they're talking about. But what if just one person put their weight on their back leg? So just put your right foot back, yep. And there you go. You just put your weight on your back leg, and then you're still looking at them. And look at that. Instead of a bagel, now we're starting to see a croissant. Do you see it? So here you can close up here. Excellent. We're going to come over here and do this again. So if you just put your weight on your back leg, perfect. And then you're still going to look towards them.
I'm going to make a bialy.
That's great. Art of the schmooze. So you're going to still look at them, and there you go. And now suddenly we have the beginnings of a croissant. Now, I am an outgoing expert, and I could now use this space to kind of walk in and start telling a story or a joke, right? I can just take over. But I want to sort of tell my fellow outgoing expert, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Instead, I would just start chatting with one person. We would sort of turn off and maybe start having a different conversation. Again, keeping it open. Because if you're facing me, and I am talking to you one-on-one, this will feel more closed, but if I step back, this is now more open. So let's applaud them back to their seats, and I'll show you in more detail what it is I'm talking about. Thank you so much for joining me on stage. Some people stand with their feet crossed. You all, I see some nods. This is a very hard thing to do and be any kind of balance. If you're feeling kind of stuck in conversations, it's because it requires a lot of energy to untangle your feet and pick a direction and start going somewhere. As you notice, if I stood with my feet just parallel, and the other person does too, that will feel more closed, which sometimes we want. Sometimes we're like so excited to finally be able to talk to a certain speaker or an author or a leader in our community that we don't want people jumping in. But more often than not, it would benefit us to just take a step back. So feet shoulder width apart, one foot slightly back, and just turned a little bit. This is not first position, okay? Just slight. This is like my back foot's turned to 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock. This small little act of opening up our body language has a profound impact on the entire room. It's like a ripple effect. Even if a small percentage of people are doing it, then everyone will suddenly realize, wow, it's a lot easier to navigate in and out and to meet people.